Now, the jerk list.
He's kind of a jerk. Jerk!
Jerk!
I'm a jerk!
You're jerks! Jerk and double jerk!
Jerk! Jerk! Jerk! Jerk! Jerk! Jerk! Jerk! Jerk! Jerk! I hit Alex.
710 ESPN, Dave Dameshek. Sounds like Diglio's fallen in love with a new little drop for himself there.
That's never getting old.
Yeah, Family Ties. Uncle Ned, a.k.a. Tom Hanks. I hit Alex.
I hit Alex.
All right, don't drive me crazy with that because I don't want you to wind up on next week's jerk list there, Diglio. And as a matter of fact, let me just say up front here.
That was a war zone.
That is what I'm talking about with these interruptions. I don't like it. Don't make me do that to you. I'm trying to talk about the jerk list. Joyless Joey. Just so you know, the jerk list every week, I put together a list of all of society's jerks and creeps from the week, and I take them down with a hand solo edition blaster. And some weeks the list gets too full. Obviously, I'm doing it the best I possibly can to rid our society of these jerks and creeps. But you know what? Some weeks I feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle. Case in point, Joyless Joey has earned it for his various misdeeds this past week, but it's too filled for me right now. So you come out unscathed. The good news is, for everybody but you, Joyless Joey, is that there is no statute of limitations on the jerk list. This isn't like our nation's laws. I can track you down for a crime you committed in the 19th century. You know, some of what?
Can you explain to me the get out of jerk free card?
You have to reconsider, Dave.
The get out of jerk free card goes to anyone who, if they do the right sort of thing, it buys them out of any future jerky behavior. You play the get out of jerk free card. If you do something good and you get the get out of jerk free card, sort of like in Monopoly, the get out of jail free card. Now, you're even Steven with me if you wind up on the jerk list. I don't know if you have one. Do you have a get out of jerk free card, Joyless Joey? I don't think you do at this point.
But I'm sure I need one soon.
You have 2 strikes against you, though. You've shown up on the list twice, and I know you already know this, but for any other ne'er-do-wells within the sound of my voice, understand this. If you wind up on the jerk list 3 times, you go into the jerk hall of shame, and there you stay for all day. You never leave. That once you go in, you don't get out. Ask Barry the Creep Bonds, who's in there for obvious reasons. David Eckstein is in there. Now, people ask, why is Eckstein in there? Well, listen, here's why Eckstein's in there. Because he is, if you're Albert Pujols, I can sign off on you being in the major leagues instead of me. You're a 6'3" monster of a man. You know, you can hit the ball a country mile, and you're infinitely more athletic than I could ever be, so on and so forth. I can see you. Well, I can look at you in one at bat and realize, oh, I could never do that. Now, David Eckstein, on the other hand, he's showing all us regular people up. He's 5'7". He weighs about 123 pounds, but he's a major leaguer. Now I feel embarrassed. Now I look like a jerk because if I would have just worked hard like David Eckstein, maybe I would have been a big leaguer. His message is, hey, grit can take you as far as you want to go. However big your dream is, as long as you're willing to apply yourself, you can make it all the way to the big leagues. How do you think that makes me feel? I would have liked to have been a big leaguer. I just didn't have any work ethic to get there. And David Eckstein, every time I see him out on the baseball diamond, reminds me of that fact. And then I told him, I put him on the jerk list, and then I did it again because he kept doing well. And I said, you better cut this out or you're going in all day. And what did he do? He turns around and wins the World Series MVP a couple of seasons ago with the Cardinals. Well, hope he enjoyed it because the door slammed shut on him in the Jerk Hall of Shame. He's in there, a couple other people. But anyway, be careful with yourself. Mind your P's and Q's, Joyless Joey. I would hate to see you wind up in there. Anyway, so with all that said, all that big wind-up, thanks again for the ridiculous interruption. I say to all the jerks and creeps who find themselves on the jerk list here this week or any other week, don't get angry with me because ultimately I didn't do this to you. You did this to you. Let it begin! All right, first of all, I hate to condemn the man. He's produced banner UCLA Bruin team since he arrived a few years ago from the University of Pittsburgh, Ben Howland. But I guess this is as good a time as any since they lost up in Washington over the weekend, and big game coming up this weekend. And the team is well on its way, in all likelihood, I guess, to a number 1 seed, so long as they can win the Pac-10 tournament there. Either way, they're going to be a 1 or a 2 seed and make another run at the national championship. But we have to hear his press conferences every week. If you're on the radio here like we are, we hear all his sound every week, and it's hard to stay awake for it. Just take a little listen to Coach Howland.
We've got to do a better job in that game, number one, with our transition defense. Number two, attacking the triangle and two, which we expect to see again. So we'll spend all week working on that. Just keeping our composure and bouncing back with a great effort after a disappointing loss.
And the other thing I always try to keep the team mindful of is, I'm obviously a loose cannon. I'm a firecracker of a human being, and I try to make sure that the ball players don't feed off of my exuberance. And I like them to keep their emotions in check and play within themselves. Sweet Jesus, man. Why can't you be a little more like Coach Knight? That's the way to be. That's what I want in a head coach. I want a man with a little fire in his belly. Not this, sometimes we got to make sure that we don't let the game get away from us. We have to work real hard. This is what we want. We want Coach Knight. Yeah.
Tired of an 8-10 record. I'm tired of losing to Purdue. I'm not here to around this week.
Now that's good stuff. Anyway, all right. Moving along. I almost forgot the most important thing of all. Ben Howland, you're a dynamite basketball coach. Not the most exciting public speaker, and for that reason this week, you're a jerk! All right, now, next up, this is a bizarre story from a couple of nights ago. A couple of hockey players got busted for swiping outside a Tampa nightclub. A couple of hockey players, Ryan O'Byrne and Tom Kostopoulos, arrested for lifting a lady's purse out of a bar. They stole her purse. They basically just grabbed it and ran out of there. And I'd like to put these two guys on the jerk list, but really, it's the other criminals in the world of sports. That these guys, they don't know what to do. These rubes from up north, these Canadian guys, like, I guess, well, we're professional athletes. We have to commit crimes. You see what happens, Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds and Randy Moss?
I didn't hit no woman.
You're in the public eye more than the hockey players are. They figure the only way we're going to get any ink is to start committing crimes like the rest of these guys are. And that's why I'm letting O'Byrne and Kostopoulos off the hook, and Clemens and Bonds and Moss and the other criminals in sports, you're all jerks!
I didn't hit no woman.
I hit Alex.
All right with that, I hit Alex Diglio already. Anyway, you know what? I'm getting heated up. Let's cool down with the get out of jerk free card. All right, like I just explained, the get out of jerk free card goes to somebody or some people who do good things. And then when you get this card, now if you should fall into any jerky behavior in the future, you just play this card, you're even Steven in Dave Dameshek's book. So this week it goes to the just-released 2008 Girl Scout cookies. Oh, always a thrill when they come out. And matter of fact, to celebrate the occasion, I put a little poll up on the 710ESPN.com message board. Click on the Dameshek homepage, and there you shall find a very important poll. One of the most important questions is the best kind of Girl Scout cookie. And by the way, I'm going to need everyone who has two wits about them to go on there and vote for the Thin Mint cookie. Because when people talk Samoas, these are cloying. Of course, it's caramel. People go on and on. It's chocolate, it's caramel, it's coconut. Yeah, it's everything. Why don't we just put some steak and some French fries and some pizza and some ribs and some ice cream in a blender and just puree it and then serve that up. Hey, it's everything. I like all those things. Yeah, but all mushed together, it's just, it's going out of their way to impress me, and frankly, you tried a little too hard. I like the Thin Mint. You're sort of like the girl that plays a little hard to get and titillates as a result of that. And by the way, I've said it many times before. I'm going to say it to you again now. The Thin Mint, here's what you want to do. It's simple, it's lean, it's sleek, it's delicious. But if you really want to do yourself a favor, take some Thin Mints, crush them up. Don't puree them. Don't turn them into fine dust or anything, but give them a good crunch. Then you take some vanilla ice cream, or if you're health conscious, go ahead and take the vanilla yogurt. That'll be fine. Put that on top of it, stir it all up, and you have just stamped your ticket to Cloud 9. And by the way, hear me now, believe me later, and you're welcome in advance. All right, that's it for that. But please, go and vote for the Thin Mint cookie if you know what's good for you on the Dameshek homepage there on 710ESPN.com. All right, moving back to the jerks here. How much time do we have, Diglio? To see, there's so many jerks. I could
got about 2 minutes.
2 minutes? How dare you? All right, I'm going to have to skip Ugly Babies. I'm going to have to get back to Ugly Babies, but rest assured I'll get to them in due time. They're not going anywhere. Anyway, Yeah, I have a baby, and so I started to notice ugly babies. And I don't like when people take their ugly babies out into public and then require me to fawn over them. Like, oh, you have a cute little kid, Dave. Oh, thanks so much. Your kid's cute, too. You know, I don't like to be a liar, but so you're putting me in a spot that I have to do. Hey, well, I'll get to that. I don't have time for that right now. All right, Miss America. Miss America was on that show, Moment of Truth, the other day. And, not Miss America, Miss California, I should say. She showed up on there. Again, 710ESPN.com. Dameshek homepage. Click in the Land of the Fox. There's another picture up there. Her. This woman, how politically correct have we gotten as a society that a woman who is a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not saying she's downright unattractive, but she certainly is not the most beautiful woman in this fair state. This state is filled with literally millions of good-looking women. I live with 2 women who are better looking than Miss California. That ain't right, because politically correct America says that, well, these people have to be well-rounded. This Miss California happens to be a great singer. This does not mean that she should win a beauty contest. It is a beauty contest after all. She has to be beautiful. I don't know who's deciding these things. I don't want to condemn this poor dear. So let's go instead with the voters, the people who vote on whoever wins these cockamamie pageants. And guess what? You can give out your awards and your sashes, but guess what? You're jerks! All right, quickly, let's get to the creep of the week. Crepe, crepe, crepe of the week, of the week. He or she is the crepe of the week. All right, this week, obviously, today even, this big congressional hearing, Roger Clemens, everybody's talking about, oh, we're trying to help out the youth. We don't want our youth to get mixed up with HGH and performance-enhancing drugs. And I think this little segment highlights what this was all about, really.
Some type of injury to his buttocks at the end of July. They thought the bruise or buttocks injury may have been caused by a muscle tear.
None of those people were injecting Roger Clemens with illegal steroids in his butt.
Clemens started complaining of soreness in his buttocks after receiving this injection. How can you be so sure this buttocks injury was not the result of the B12 shot?
All right, enough with Clemens' butt. Enough, Congress. There's a war in Iraq. There's trouble with Iran. North Korea is an issue. Campaign contributions. The vice president giving defense contracts to his own companies. How about you deal with these things, and then we can start dealing with the essential question of what things are going into Roger Clemens' backside. Let me tell you this. I don't care who's right in this and who's lying anymore. Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, Chuck Knobloch, Brian McNamee, Barry the Creep Bonds, Bud Selig, all you congressmen, I want baseball instead. You give me this nonsense. Well, let me show you how easy it is to give you a little something and return the favor. All of you are the creeps of the week.
The Jerk List with Dave Dameshek reporting.